Welcome to Beast Bodies. My name is Kiersey and I am your coach. Today I want to show you some exercises you can do with a long loop band. You're seeing right now a bent over row, which is a compound movement because it uses your butt, the back of your legs, a little bit the front of your legs, your entire back muscles, a little bit of your arms. So really everything, but the focus is on your back. Now, an upright row pretty much targets the same muscles in your back, but it takes that element of the bend over out, so you're not using your lower back, butt, and legs quite as much. And depending on how you position your hands here, you will target a little bit of different muscles in your back. When you keep your palms facing each other, you will get your mid-back. And now you can see me doing the same movement, but with my elbows out and my palms facing to the ground. So now I'm targeting my upper back a little bit more and also the back of my shoulders. You will also get a little bit of a biceps pump here, just because that's part of the nature of the movement of, flexing your arms. You can also perform this seated. That will take the pressure out of your legs. Or you can do it kneeling, depending on the height of your band attachment and what you want to target in your back. You can really play around with this. You could also do this on one side only and add an anti-rotational element to this exercise. So you can really do this anywhere. You just need somewhere to attach your band and it needs to be stable. Now, this is a little bit more of an isolation exercise for your lats. Your lats are those back muscles on the side of your torso that form that V shape basically. So make sure you lay down on the ground with your lower back pressed into the floor, belly button tucked in towards the spine, and full range of motion if you can, depending on the strength of your band. So you can see that I don't really have any tension on the top of my movement here, but that's okay. Moving on over to a core exercise, this is a dead bug. So this is a little bit of a different variation where we take the movement out of the arms and we're just focusing on the legs only. Same thing as with the lat pull down. You want to press your lower back tightly into the ground, and you also want to tilt your pelvis in here. So imagine you have a bowl of water sitting in your lap and you're like pouring that into your belly button. Lower one leg at a time, slow and controlled. Gently push your dog out of the way and make sure to give him some love too. Another core exercise, this is a torso rotation. You want to plant your feet steadily, keep a slight bend in your knees, squeeze the butt, and you want to move your hips as little as possible. So the rotation should be happening at the waist and not with the hips. Hips should be staying forward. Here you can see it from the other side. You will always have that little bit rotation there, that's okay, but you do want to keep your hips as steady as possible and then rotate those shoulders over and over to the other side. Movement is happening at the waist. Don't forget to squeeze that booty. Speaking of booty, this is a deadlift. So the deadlift works your posterior chain, which is the back side of your body. You are using your lower back, your butt, and your hamstrings to bend and then extend back up, and you're using your upper back to keep the shoulders back and tight and to make sure that the spine stays straight. Here you can see it from the side. You can see me resetting my shoulders there real quick. You really want to make sure that you're engaging all of your core muscles to keep a straight spine, and then you're hinging at the hips, pushing your butt back behind the heels, and then squeezing your butt back forward, locking out at the top tight. This is a great exercise you can do with weights, bands, or just your body weight. Now we're isolating the butt because everybody wants a big booty these days. You just hook that band around your feet and then over your hips. And like I said before, imagine you have a bowl of water sitting in your lap and you want to pour that into your belly button. That is the way you want your pelvis to tilt. And you want to really engage that and make sure that you're not arching your back. When you're arching your back, you're putting a lot of pressure on the lower back, and that's not cool. This is an overhead press. Overhead press is also a compound movement. It kind of uses the whole body since you are pressing weight overhead when you're standing. So it's putting pressure on your spine, it's putting pressure on your legs, of course your arms and shoulders, but it focuses mainly on the shoulders here. You want to slightly lean back to allow that band to cross in front of your face, and then come back under the band as you press up. You can also isolate one arm at a time. You just hook that band around your foot and then press up. And depending on what resistance you have, this might be possible to do with one arm or it might not. So you're just gonna have to find that out. And you could also just attach the band to something. You don't have to stand on it, but if you don't have anything to attach it to, this is a great solution. And you want to make sure that you keep your spine really straight. You want to evenly distribute your weight over both feet, and you want to make sure that you're not rotating or bending with your back. So really engage those core muscles. Make sure that both your shoulders stay parallel to the ground and your hips stay facing forward. And depending on the resistance, this might be really easy or it might be really hard. You're just going to have to experiment a little bit. Now, I mentioned earlier the anti-rotational element of the single-armed exercises. So here you can see me do a chest press single-armed. You want to keep your palm facing down to the ground and your elbow up. If you are sensitive to friction, this might feel a little bit uncomfortable on the top of your arm. You can attach the band a little bit higher, but it will pull your hand up. So you do have an anti-rotational element if you attach your band higher, which maybe you want or maybe you don't want. So again, you have to play around a little bit with positioning of your band here and with the resistance of your band. Now, this really isolates your chest muscles. This is a chest fly. And again, depending on the resistance of your band, you might be able to do this or not. This is a fairly light resistance band, and you can still see me struggling. When the band is stretched out all the way, the resistance is the highest, and when it's slack, of course, the resistance is the least. So the high resistance of the band is pretty hard for me, and then the light resistance of this band is too easy. You can see me have slack in the band, so I'm not really training the full range of motion here. But you know, bands aren't perfect, and we do have to work with what we have. Now, if you don't have anything to attach your band to and you don't want to do push-ups, you can basically do reverse push-ups with the band. Just loop the band around your back. This will put quite a bit of pressure on your thumbs depending on how you hold the band and depending on where you loop the band around your back, so you're going to have to play around a little bit. Bicep curls are a great way to isolate your biceps for that nice flex muscle. Now here I am facing the band, so the resistance is the hardest on the top of the curl. So depending on the way you stand facing or facing away from the band, the resistance will be harder or easier on the top or bottom of the curl. Now I flipped around. Now my resistance is really hard on the bottom of the curl where my bicep is the weakest with my arm fully extended. And I have to pull the slack out of the band at the bottom there, so you will find that the bottom part is difficult in this variation of the curl. Here we just have a different angle, speaking about that anti-rotational aspect of unilateral exercises. So here you really have to squeeze your core, engage your butt and your legs to make sure that you are not twisting in your spine. You want to keep your hips and your shoulders facing forward the entire time. And you can see how my torso wants to rotate and that curl a little bit and how I am preventing that from happening. So you can also do tricep extensions. I was struggling a little bit with the resistance of the band here. It is quite heavy, but this is one way you could do it. Another way would be to do the same position we did the single arm overhead press in. If you scroll back in the video, you can see that there. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. It was a pleasure to have you here. See you next time.